maybe I'll, oh, hi, Facebook Live, yay. I was going to change my background, but I guess it's too late.
You can change it now.
Should I?
Hello, everyone. This is Araceli.
Hi, everyone, and I'm Colette, and we make up ACDC.
ACDC, that's right. So this is Araceli and Colette, Dynamic Change. And I'm a transition financial specialist, and I specialize in working with single professional women that are going through some kind of transition, and I help them get more cash flow every month, pay their debt quicker, and retire early. And today we have a really special episode to talk about midlife crisis. Yeah, I know, boo, boo.
But we don't want to make it a boo. We want to make it a yay.
Yes, yeah, because I think that at this time in my life, I have gone through many, many transitions. And I know that every single one of them affects finances. And you can actually just prepare for it and get better for the next transition in your life, or don't plan for it, and then it's going to be harder, right? But another kind of sector of the population that we left behind is kind of men. We don't really talk about men a lot because I personally specialize in working with women, but they also have issues. What do you think about that, Colette?
Wow. Okay, so my name is Colette Rabba. I'm a residential real estate broker in the GTA, and Araceli and I really like talking with one another because we have so many things in common, including not just finances and real estate, but also we both invest in real estate as investors. So when we talk about things like midlife crisis, it's not just about finances, it's also about lifestyle and what kind of life you want at this stage, you know, looking forward. I mean, we all want to sort of plan out a strategy to not just financially age well, but also physically age well. And it's the whole lifestyle thing of what kind of life do you want to create for yourself? Not just, you know, when you start your, you know, after school and you start your lives, but also moving forward. Araceli and I have both gone through quite a change. I mean, I think we all sort of experience life when we're at the age that we're not going to say our ages, but we've both lived, like we've both had careers, we've both changed careers. We both have had relationships not work out. So, and it goes beyond that, also parents aging and how to manage that. So at every stage of life, financially, I think it's very important to look at your finances and also set goals. It doesn't matter how old you are. We all want financial freedom. We all want some kind of, you know, in my case, I would really like to give my children something. And why am I thinking about it now? I'm not planning on kicking the bucket anytime soon, but there's also COVID, so we don't know. So I think that's something in the insurance industry, like that's been something that a lot of people come to you about, questions about, right?
That's correct, Colette. And the thing is, it's not, right now we're going through COVID, but you know, in a few years, we're going to go through something else. I don't know what that's going to be, and maybe another virus, maybe something else happening in the world. There is a lot of changes. And as you see through history, we have gone through war, we have gone through tsunamis, we have gone through devastation and terrorist attacks, and all of that affects somehow our finances because that creates jobs or eliminates jobs at the same time. Just what is happening right now. A lot of people are, you know, lots of stores are closing, which is, you know, it's kind of sad because I like some of them.
Yeah, there's big ones too, like quite big names are closing.
Exactly.
This is the thing. So my question for you was, you know, with men, we kind of, as women, we know what we've gone through, but every time, you know, we chit chat and we, you know, men are probably going through similar changes or similar thoughts that women do at this, you know, time of their lives. But at the same time, what makes them a little bit different? I think men have a lot more pressure on them, or am I wrong?
I believe they have, and I think it's just more of a cultural pressure than anything else. we're both humans, but I think that psychologically we are different.
Yeah.
As women, we tend to be more open, to have friends and talk about our problems, sometimes blow out of steam, which
Right.
men don't do that as much.
Or even talk about, like, nobody wants to talk about finances, but with their friends and, giving too much information. But I think you're right. Like not just about finances, but about emotions, about marriages, about kids. I have male friends the same age or, around the same age as us. And I ask them these questions, and it's really interesting to see how different their answers are, or they just don't want to talk about it. So do
Yeah,
you get that a lot?
a lot, Colette. And that is actually one of the reasons why I work with women more, because they're really more open to talk about what it's really going on with them.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's
So how can
interesting,
we
but
break that barrier through with men? Because
well,
I met a lot of the people that are our age that are, I find my clients are they're varied. So I have a lot of different kind of clients, but it's always the men who are thinking more about the numbers and if it's a couple, and it's the women that think emotionally and lifestyle.
mm-hmm.
But I think they both have some, and being so, stereotypical here, that's obviously not what I want to say. But when you look at, my little, my clients that I've dealt with and I've had and I've worked with, like, those are the types of people this is who I'm talking about. So don't take offense if I say I'm, usually speaking, the women are more emotional, but that's it's a general statement. So with men, to say, okay, they're on the numbers, they're on the finances, they know what they're doing. Why is that? Why do women not take, and I can say that about myself too. Why can women not take more, they're not assertive enough when it comes to finances?
I think, as I said before, I think it's cultural, right?
Yeah.
And also, we have had in the society a role, right?
Okay.
Usually, the women stayed home and take care of the kids and
Oh,
all of
so
that.
stereotypical.
Yeah, it is. It's
But
very
it is.
stereotypical, but somehow in the back of our mind, even though now we're working now,
Yeah.
right, and we are generating income, that is a stereotype. It's still embedded in our DNA, I would say,
Yeah. Yeah.
somehow. And now I see it more and more women taking charge of their finances because there's more and more divorces. So I
Right.
run into more and more women that are single. So
Right.
whether they want it or not, they have to take charge at
But
that point, right?
even if you're a married couple, I still think that the husband and wife should still, or if they're not married or just together, whatever term you want to use, when it's something that, how can we get that message across to get women a little bit more interested in knowing their finances before shit hits the fan and they
Yeah.
have to do it? So
Well, just have some awareness,
yeah,
to let them know that they need to be involved, even though they don't do the detail, but at
right,
least they know where the accounts are, what are the passwords, how to check if, what the balance is,
right,
and just make sure that there's communication with their partner to make bigger purchases, right? Because sometimes, usually one or the other decides, oh, well, I'm going to buy a big TV or a car or something without
right,
consulting the other partner. And
right.
that's when problems
It's the
become,
fan.
yeah, because
There's the fan.
sometimes
See the fan behind me?
exactly.
We
So
don't
if
want the shit to hit the fan.
so if you're having some kind of difficulty, or you're using both incomes, if you both have income in a household and one of them loses their income, then that's when things become very difficult. If you have extended yourself to
Right.
buy things that maybe are a little bit, out of reach.
For
So
sure.
I usually try to go on the safe side and buy less than what you can afford.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So we're working on an article that's coming out hopefully today, just
yeah.
about things like this. So yeah, I think it's really important that, never mind, we think that both men and women should really, I can see a lot of men too having that problem of dealing with their finances or not keeping
Absolutely.
track, not having a goal, not saying, okay, I would like to. How many people do I talk to? And they go, oh, I wish I could do this. I wish I could buy a cottage. I wish. It's like, okay, stop wishing and let's make a plan. Let's sit down and write it out. So I don't know if men are the same as women in that respect.
I think it varies.
Planners.
I think men are more planners.
Yeah.
However, what I've seen, and this is, as I said, my experience is not for everybody, but especially with people that I've met, because I meet a lot of people that have been divorced, men are, they kind of like go into a little cocoon and this is, okay, I don't want to deal with it right now. Like, I don't want to deal with it right now. And, it might not be everybody, but I think that because they have to bottle their emotions and they don't want to come out and say, I feel sad or I feel maybe betrayed or something, right?
Yeah.
It's harder for them to remove them and move on, right? So for what I've seen, it takes men a little longer to move on than for women after divorce. So it's not only finances, but emotionally as well. So this is what I've experienced. I have been divorced for a long time, and the same thing.
I didn't know that. I wouldn't think that at all. I would think that it would be easier for men to move on, to move forward.
No, not really. It's for what I've seen.
From your experience.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that, I think that is important because, time goes by. And no matter what happens, you're going to be aging, we're not going to get any younger.
I know. So. Yeah. No, well, it's very interesting to see that. I haven't really, my demographic is a little bit different than yours with work. I might not see that certain demographic as much, but I like to, because I think if you're going through something either at the same time or you've already gone through it, so let's say a separation or having to sell both house, the marital home and buy another one, or how do you do it? How is it going to what I find timing is very, very important when you have to know these things. I was just talking to a friend of a friend a few days ago, and she was telling me that they've been living apart for 6 years or so and don't have a separation agreement. And I said, how's that? Are you not worried about that? And how do you time it then? So if you've been separated for 6 years and somebody still owns the marital home, or it's still co-owned, but somebody's moved out, what are the ramifications for that? How long does it usually take? Should you sell the house right away? There are all these things that I think both the man and the woman don't know what the scenarios are, or their options are before they decide to leave the marital.
And that's why it's very important, because at that time when you're going through transition, to talk to someone like myself, so they can give you a little bit perspective, because I know exactly your pain. I know I've been through it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not emotional anymore about that situation, because it's not my situation, right? And I can give you a little bit more objective ideas, especially if your income is lower. Usually women make less money than men, and now they're used to certain type of house, this certain type of lifestyle. And now it's not going to be possible, right? Continue to do the same, especially if you have younger children. Yeah.
Right. That's what I find too, that I find with, going through the process myself, knowing your options, that's the hardest thing. So the one thing that I really don't like is that, personally speaking, I really don't like to be forced to get a lawyer. And that's something in Ontario law that it's debatable, you don't need to, but then you're basically signing your rights off to say, I refuse legal counsel. And it's anyway, it's all,
but that is there's options. So if you are in good terms,
but I think you need.
Oh, absolutely. You can go to a mediator.
Right.
A mediator would be a lot cheaper than going through a lawyer. If you are in good terms with your ex-partner.
Yeah.
I think I recommend that you do that instead of going through lawyers, because if you don't have a lot of money, or you have your money tied up in a property, then it's going to cost both parties a lot of money. And I
Right.
think that, you already have enough pain going through than to
Of course.
add any more, right?
Right. And then if you think about, what we talk about is finances and setting goals and moving ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the one thing that it's terrifying to think, okay, I'm going through a separation or a divorce, and now I'm not earning any of this money. I have to take this hard-earned money and put it into lawyers and fees and things like that. So that really bothers me on a personal level, but it's something that you're right. If there's no property and no kids, a separation is much, much easier for both parties.
Of course.
Because that way, and I hate to say it that way, but if you can make the decision fast and get through it, I think emotionally and financially, it's a better idea, isn't it?
Absolutely. Because then you can start with the new complete lie, like a clean slate, and then start again, right? But I know the transition, it doesn't happen only with divorce, but also for people that are older that are changing careers. I did it. You did it. I have a couple friends that are doing it right now. And I'm talking about being in your late 40s, sometimes early 50s. You're changing careers, and it is happening more and more.
Right. Well, look at COVID. I mean, like I just read something about the I don't want to say numbers, but it's a much higher number than it was at the beginning of the year. Unemployment is just going up. So, and we talk about that a little bit too, about the real estate market, and thinking that, people don't have their finances figured out, like from before COVID.
Yeah.
And they get laid. It's exactly what we keep talking. You get laid off, you have an issue, you can't pay your mortgage. If you had a plan from like when you were over here, then you'd be okay if you got to this point, if you ever did get to this point. But it's very hard when you're at the beginning to actually see what the possibilities are. And we don't want to be fear-mongering, and we obviously want to build your equity, not take away from it. But if you set up the right plan from the beginning, I think that would help a lot of people not be where they are right now. Because who thought of that? Who thought that something like this would happen?
Never in my life I would have thought that.
Lived through a plague. But anyway, so like moving forward, what can people do? So let's say they're feeling a little pinched right now because one of them somebody's been laid off, or maybe they're going through a separation because, being with the same person during COVID, you might not be getting along anymore.
That's right. Especially if you have to work from home. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So knowing that. So let's say there's somebody who's thinking about getting a separation, or somebody who has, been laid off and they haven't been rehired. What are the steps that they can take to actually get out of this ahead?
Well, the first step is to start working with somebody that is going to help them, give them a different perspective. Good. Second of all, then just take a look at
somebody like you.
Yeah, that's me. So, and the second thing is take a look at their budget. What are the things that are spending? Some people, they just go out of their day and just keep spending. Yeah. Right. Instead of having a designated amount for certain things. So that is one of the things. I've seen it over and over again. If you do not have a budget, please do make one. If you need a template, I'd be happy to send you one and help you with it as well. It's a lot simpler than people think. So
awesome. That's good.
It's very, very simple, right? So within an hour, I can help you do that.
Very good. Okay. No, I think that's really good. I think that's very helpful.
And then after that, obviously, if they decide to separate, then you have to evaluate each person individually now, because obviously you're not going to be together. You're not going to be consolidating resources. So that is the main thing. So now, as let's say for the woman, right, if she is not working, now how is she going to get money? Is he going to be paying her if she has kids as well, right? Or maybe she's got other assets that she can start taking money from. So every situation is different. So we would have to go into exactly what it is.
Right.
She might stop working, or she might have to have a job. There's so many options, right? And it all depends on lifestyle as well. Because someone that has younger children, even if they want to go back to work, they might not be able to.
Right. Or if they need
So,
to go back to school to relearn something. So
exactly.
and this is the thing that really, I know I know there are people who are also doing the two things at once. So separating and possibly getting laid off. So how do you really figure this out to move forward in your life? It can be debilitating. We understand it can be very emotional. It can be depressing. It can be, very difficult, but this is why we do this show for you to feel like you have somebody to call out to say, hey, how much is my house worth? What can I do to make more money? How can I set up a plan to move forward? Like we're a powerhouse. That's why we're ACC, because we're really here for you. We want you to feel that you can share your I don't want to say troubles, but you can share your questions and your issues. And if there's something that, this is the thing that sometimes it messes me up, because even though I'm a real estate broker, I try and help people save their houses and not sell, so either putting a basement apartment or, subletting or something that they can do to hang on to the property. Because I'm that firm believer that property is always going to increase. So I don't want you to sell it. So going through a separation, that's the other thing too. How do you do it? What if somebody wants to stay in the house while it's being sold during COVID? Like there are all these questions that people just don't know how to proceed. What's the first step? What's the first step of doing a financial plan? These are just easy questions for us. Just, give us a call, text us, email, whatever you're comfortable with. Ask us your questions. It's really something that I always find if I need help with something, I ask somebody I know or an expert or watch a YouTube video. YouTube's been great.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to add something to that,
Sure.
Colette. That is a very good advice. However, don't let it get too overwhelming.
Yes.
Because some people, they wait. No, I'm going to wait until I sell my house. But you might not have to sell your house.
This is the thing. If you really think of, so I like analogies. So when I look at it as, financial literacy or financial freedom being the same, like a fitness trainer, let's say. So I find that you're not going to go to the gym and, run around like 6 miles and then use every machine and think, okay, that's it. That's all I got to do. Like you have a plan. You hire a professional. You work things slowly. You work different parts. You do one machine at a time. So it's the same thing. You do one step at a time. When you're building equity or you're going through a separation, whatever it is, you have the experts at hand. You ask them, how do I get started? What do I do? And we'll put you on a plan. So even if you're not ready to buy a house with me, you can ask me those questions. How much do I need for a down payment? Do I need a lawyer? How do I hire you? Where do you work? So there's all these questions. Both Araceli and I, that's what we're here for. We're ready for you.
I think knowing your options is something that is invaluable, because you know what, when I went through a divorce, we decided to sell the house. I might have been able to save that house
if you had the right agent.
Exactly. But you know what? I honestly tell you, like, I froze. I was so emotional. Everything kind of just fell apart at once. And I do relate to people that go through it, but try to get, out of that. And I wish I had someone like me to help me. It says, listen, there is a couple of people, or something like Colette, My agent never told me, oh, maybe you can save your house. Maybe you have this option. He said, okay, we'll put it on the market. There was no...
Well, because that's his goal, is just to make his commission, right? He can't.
Absolutely.
Oh, you should do this, you should do that, because it's not going to, in the end, that's the type of person that...
If I didn't sell the house, he didn't make a commission, right?
Right. But do you really want to work with someone like that? How many times would you even refer that person later on? So that's why I do it, because even if you're not ready, so I also do something called a letter of evaluation. So it's not really an appraisal, but let's say you want to sell your house. You say, come on over. I do the research on the market. I do a plan for you to say, okay, if you'd like to sell it, this is when I would also recommend selling it. This is what the market is right now. Maybe I can tell you what I think is going to happen. Cyclically, the system, the real estate world works like that. This year has been a bit different. But when you have all those answers to say, okay, now I have the answers of when and how and if, then I can make a plan to say, okay, I will sell my house or not, or I can I'll buy my husband out, or I'll buy my wife out. So same thing with your financial plan. If you have those questions answered to say, I would like to be a millionaire by the time I'm 40.
Yeah.
Araceli can tell you what you need to do to get there. So it's a plan. It's the same thing, but in the different kind of category. If you want to bake a cake, do you just go to the store and buy everything in the baking department? No.
Yeah.
A recipe, you have a plan, you know how long the oven is going to take to heat or, be in the oven. So this is the same thing. We're not saying we understand it's emotional if you're going through separation or you lose your job, but that's what professionals are there to help you solve the problems. And it might not be having to sell your house or, selling your Maserati.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's just about talking to us. And that's what we love to do. We love to hear your stories.
Yeah.
And because people can learn from you too. Right?
Oh, absolutely. No, no question about it. I really love the analogy of going to the gym. And the thing is, finances is not just doing your budget once, but to follow it and continue to do that. It's like, you go to the gym, you have to continuously go to the gym.
Right.
You cannot just work out once and then you have a six-pack. Unless you're my partner. Doesn't matter what he does, he still has a six-pack, which is good.
Or just say, hey, I can run a marathon, but I've never actually put running shoes on my feet before. So maybe
you have to go slow, right? Slow.
Right. But maybe some people can do that, but most people really
most people can't. No, that's it's very, very difficult if you've never done it before. That's for sure.
And
right?
what? Flying by the seat of your pants, what's going to happen? You're probably going to pay for it later. So that goes with finances. That goes with everything.
Absolutely.
Eating a plan. Yeah, I'm going to eat 6 hamburgers. Yeah, what's going to happen tomorrow? Oh, nothing. I'll be fine. So obviously, there are things that you can joke about, but when it comes to finances and even buying real estate, it's not something that you really want to.
Yeah, it's especially in the GTA because of the prices of the houses. Now it is even more important to have a budget and to stick to it because we don't have a lot of disposable income. In the 60s, we had only one person working in the house and we have about 20% disposable income.
Right.
Now we have 2 people working in the house and there's no disposable income.
I know, but that's the interesting thing. So anyway, we could talk about that all day, but I think we're running out of time a little bit. So I think that's a really good, I really, even though our Zoom call today is a little bit low key, I think it's really important for everybody to sort of reflect on, what kind of life they want and how fast or how slow it's going to, take them to get there. I hate numbers. I don't like looking at my own numbers because that has to either motivate me or not. So if I'm not motivated by the numbers I see, I want to get somewhere. So it is motivating to say, okay, well, what am I going to do to get there? So I think we all have to, if this is something that we do want financial freedom or just, some kind of, just to know about finances.
Absolutely. And and you know what? I have a lot of very motivated clients, but they come into me when they're late 40s, 50s. And guess what? I have very little time to work with. So the sooner you get started, the better. It seems like a pain, but it's really not. Believe me, I try to make it very easy. I give you little tidbits at a time. Not too overwhelming for people because I understand that a lot of people are not going to be able to do all of it at once. And I don't expect you to do that. I always walk you through step by step so to make it easy so you understand what you're doing and it's not overwhelming. So.
Yay!
So with that, we're gonna end this episode today. But if you do have any questions, if there's anything that we did not touch up on, and maybe you want to know more about how, in a separation you can keep your house, how you can qualify for a mortgage, we all have lots of resources between Colette and I that can help you figure out a solution and see if there's anything that we can help with. So there's
Yay!
no problem too big.
No problem too big. No problem too small too.
Yeah, exactly. So, or if you want to just chat about something, that you have a question, anything about finances or real estate investing, we're here to help. So,
we need content too. So whatever you guys want us to talk about, please, give us questions. We'll answer them, and other people can learn too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Send them in.
So with that, we'll leave you today, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Have a fantastic day.
You too.